An error occurred. One of the Twitter accounts. Anyways, friends and
X.
enemies.
It's no longer Twitter. That guy paid billions of dollars to change the name to X. It's no longer Twitter.
Yeah, look, sorry about that hiccup here. Technical difficulties on the air. My name is Joey. That's Len. Welcome back to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, Monday edition. Len, I don't know what you were doing before the show, but I was watching the the premier's debate on CPAC. Doug, Bonnie, and two people I've never seen before and will probably never see again, debating whether or not Doug should run a spa for $1 billion and whether or not Galen Weston got a $200 check, just like the rest of us. What were you doing before the show? Anything good? Anything exciting?
Not that. I can assure you, definitely not. I don't know why there's no interest I have in the Ontario debate and really the Ontario election as a whole. It seems like it's going to be a slam dunk for who's going to be winning it. It's just a matter of how much is Doug Ford going to win by. Is it going to be like a massive majority or a slim majority?
Yeah.
There's no opposition, it seems like.
No. Crombie, I just was texting a high-ranking community friend that I have and was saying that Bonnie Crombie looks like it's such a screeching harpy on TV. Like every time she gets the mic, she just is screaming into the mic, whining about something. And Ford is, for all the things Ford does that I don't like, he's a good debater in that he just lets the punches roll off of him, and his opponents just look like they're tiring themselves out, screaming about the same things. You're not. How are you gonna? And Ford always says, well, you guys are talking about all these programs. How are you gonna do it? You're gonna cut everyone's taxes and double the spending on the programs. What's that gonna look like?
Look at it from a different point of view. If you were one of the other candidates, what would be your tactic?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you.
I get a job doing something else somewhere else, probably. Honestly,
I'm with you. I don't know what they could do. Really, it's just Liberal Party is still rebuilding after the Kathleen Wynne.
God, what a mess!
And the NDP party is just the NDP party, right?
There's another party there, the Greens, I guess. Is that
they're just party? The Greens, right? They're just there, right?
It's funny. That guy's always like talking about how it's his turn to chime in, and he reminds me of who's that guy from Office Space with the stapler issue? Nelson Wilson, what is that guy's name?
Melvin?
I just want to let you know my stapler.
Isn't it Melvin, or am I wrong?
I don't know. That's what he sounds like, though. He sounds like that guy. He's like, clown show, meek and mild. Also, again, like ill-fitting suits on every person, including the women. Just no money for tailoring in this country. What's going on? Yeah, I should note here. Yeah, P-Man in the chat asking if I'm buried in snow. I have had my snowblower out twice or three times in the last 24 hours. So yeah, it was a busy weekend of snow here. Family day here, obviously. I took today off, but didn't have a free day. I'll tell you that, between the snow and entertaining my young daughter. Lots going on here today.
You got to run some water piping, like a loop under your driveway. Hook that up close to an ASIC or multiple ASIC, and free. It's going to melt away. Now, granted, it's going to pool at the very bottom and freeze and create a skating rink, but at least your car will be on solid ground rather than ice and snow. So, yeah.
Did you bust your snowblower out? I mean, we must have got 30 centimeters, 35 centimeters.
No, I did Thursday. It. So my neighbor did it with a snowblower once, but I did it. Nice. I have a shovel and do it old-fashioned way. Me and my daughter. She did a good job. But
good. Shout out to you, Sabrina. Well, let's get into it. As always, big show tonight. Lots to talk about. We'll talk about the sponsors first. Easy DNS. You guys know Mark. You should be using Mark for all your DNS needs. He's your friendly neighborhood registrar. We use him for the CBP website. And we've done both a buy through Mark and a port from someone else. One of you guys actually gave us the Canadian Bitcoiners website. So we've done both. Easy both times. Mark is always willing to help in terms of making sure that you get set up without any problems, get your email set up, get your website, your blog set up. But there's a couple of other important things. Number one, virtual private server stuff. For the Bitcoin enthusiast, everything is available over on EasyDNS. That means you can do Bitcoin nodes, Nostr relays, BTC Pay server, node lists, whatever else. Mark's got you. And then the second thing that we talk about on Thursdays on the Access of Easy show, which you should be subscribed to if you're not, is DomainSure. DomainSure is this suite of security features and functions that make sure you don't get rugged by some nefarious actor. Every week on that show, we talk about somebody whose life would have been so much easier if they had just used Mark to protect their domain, make sure they're not being spoofed, make sure they're not having their stuff accessed, all these things. But people still want to use other services. I don't know why. Mark is the best in Silo. Those are the only people we have sponsoring the show. And I recommend you try them out. So go there. CBP Media is the code. Len's got something to say. What do you want to say?
Not the only people. We have a second company sponsoring it.
Yeah. But like he's the best in Silo, right? The companies that sponsor us are the best in Silo. So yeah, go there. CBP Media is the code. Get half off first round of buys. Load the cart and forget about it. Buy it. And you should be squatting on domains anyways. Like there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's going to be 8 billion by next year or whatever, 2 years from now, whatever that number is. So domains are going to be going fast and furious. Get on one. Mark will help you. Go over and patronize our guy.
Toku Drift Style. Bull Bitcoin's our second sponsor. And Joey, I'm not sure if you've been watching, but the fees are still very low. There's been orphan blocks out there that are being mined because there's just not enough transactions to throw in there. So what I'm trying to get at is it's a good time to buy on chain. And who should you buy on chain Bitcoin from? Well, Bull Bitcoin. If you're in Canada or in Europe, Bull Bitcoin is the best people to buy from because why? They're non-custodial. This is what you want in the exchange. You want an exchange that does not hold on to your Bitcoin. When you buy from them, they send it to you right away. So you can't execute a buy from Bull Bitcoin without providing a legitimate Bitcoin address or even illegitimate. It'll just go nowhere, but it's your choice to do that. Either way, if fees do get high, and it will one point in time in the future, can't say when, but it will happen. You could buy Lightning with, so you can buy Bitcoin from Lightning with Bull Bitcoin. Lots of different options over there. You can start spending your Bitcoin a couple of different ways. Number one, pay your bills. Look, Bitcoin's sitting at 95,000. It's just a stable coin right now. What the heck? People have been buying Bitcoin for a long time. We've been saying people should buy Bitcoin. So hopefully you bought Bitcoin for the past few years. You made some massive gains. So with those massive gains, what could you do? You could pay your bills using the Bull Bitcoin bill service. So you could pay your car payment, your credit card payment, whatever the heck. So using your Bitcoin to do that. Second thing, you could buy gift cards with your Bitcoin. And with that, you can start spending your Bitcoin indirectly in the real world because a lot of merchants in Canada do not accept Bitcoin directly. But this is one way to have them accept Bitcoin by using these gift cards. Check them out, open an account. If you do that, use our promo code below. $21 will be added to your account once you provide the necessary information and fund your account. Check them out. We rave about Bull Bitcoin for a reason because they are the best in the game.
Best in Silo, man. That's what we do. Let's talk some boosts, then we'll get into some housekeeping stuff.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about some boosts. So, Anonymous, I wish I could give you a name, but it just says Anonymous, 333 sats. He says, Joey and Len, you guys should check out MSTY. It's an ETF offered by YieldMax, and they do options trading on MSTR. Monthly distributed dividends to shareholders. The dividends have been astronomical and well worth it. I took a look at it in comparison to MSTR, say the past month, the past week. It's really not tracking MSTR exactly. So if the yields are outpacing what your losses are, then all more power to you. But still, this is very fiat. MSTY, it's doing some options trading. It sounds very fiat to me. If you're into that, wonderful. I appreciate the insight and to the recommendation. Joey, I'm not sure if you're interested in that, but I'm just buying corn. That's just me.
I have it up on the screen here. I have not seen this ETF before, but I also just don't. Why not just buy Strike? If like STRK, I shouldn't say Strike. It's the MSTR prefers. Why not just buy the prefers if you want the dividend? Because then you can get it in either stock or cash, probably also at some point in Bitcoin, which would be nice. Yeah, all things considered.
Yeah, just another option, I guess, for people that want to take advantage of tax efficient vehicles. But yeah. Anyways, Wartime 3 times submits 333 sats. I'm just going to clump them all together as for one. So one, he says, I always appreciate you guys' content. Very entertaining and fiery. Second, he does a couple of beer mugs to cheers.
Love it.
Third, this one's for you, Joey. He says, chocolate milk. Yes, please. Because you had spilled your milk last week, I believe.
Oh, God.
I kill 1/2 gallon of chocolate milk every couple of days. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a lot of chocolate
1/2 gallon. Get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. I'm going through a bag of milk. Yeah, I'm going through almost a bag of milk every day.
But
pretty
chocolate?
Close. No. I go through a carton of chocolate milk every couple of days. A big one, like one of those 2-liter ones. Yeah, I drink a lot of milk. My physiotherapist, who you know, commented that probably one of the reasons I'm so muscular, not to my own horn, is because of all the milk. I barely eat, like I don't eat that well, but I drink a lot of milk. And it's good for you. Like people, I get that people are like lactose intolerant or whatever, but it's hard for me to imagine a life without milk in terms of just like I love the taste. I mean, you guys see me drinking milk here every week. And by the way, it's not a gimmick. I was drinking milk when there was 5 people watching, and now there's like, some nights 1,000 people. I'm still drinking the milk. I love milk. You're Italian. You don't drink a lot of milk? I've never seen you drink milk.
I like yogurt, cheese. I love cheese.
Okay.
So I don't shy away from dairy. Absolutely.
No, definitely not. Yeah, and Jordan talking about. I don't also like. This is not related to the podcast content at all, but like I also don't fart that much. I think farting and intolerance, user error, man. That's you got to read the instructions.
Well, let's keep moving on. Doug, 521 sats. He says or writes in, I can confirm the Jade Plus is a total pain in the arse.
Ooh.
Playing about with Liquid, it's not Bitcoin, but I have my reasons. So thought being able to hold it offline was a wise move. But holy crap, it is ever awkward. Cold card for the win. This is somebody that has real life experience with the Jade Plus, and it seems like based off this, it's a thumbs down.
We said that last week. Like again, the question for us is like why spend $250 on that when you spend $300 or $350 on the cold card? That's ultimately the thing you have to answer. I think. If you can't answer it, then you got to go with that better product.
It sounds like for him, he wanted to have the optionality to use Liquid as well, and Jade Plus does offer that. But again, like he says, it's not Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Jer 1,000 sats. He says another banger. Thanks, boys. I think Jer just joined our Discord, which I'll talk about in a moment.
Jer.
And last but not least, John Rubber Factory, another 1,000 sats. Love that name. Thank you, CBP. That's it.
Thank you, John. CBP. Thank you, John Rubber Factory. That's great stuff.
I just want to say really quick before we do the housekeeping, the Discord is rocking these days. Check it out. It's in the link below and the audio, the video. You'll find it below. But
I'm going to put it in the chat right now too.
Check it out. There's a lot of people joining and chatting on there. The discussions they're organic. People are asking questions, answering them. It's fun.
You can sign in and see where I'm spending my time when it comes to gaming on my computer as well. Spoiler.
Does it show you?
Yeah, it's usually Civ, Age of Empires, or one of the Diablo flavors. I like Project Diablo 2. I don't know if anyone's ever played that or not, but I'm an old school Diablo 2 guy. I think it's a great game. Diablo 4 is okay, but it's kind of too it's too brain rot for me. Everything is brain rot. I go on Call of Duty, it's all brain rot levels. You're always dying, people sliding around all sorts of different directions. Anyway, some housekeeping. So last week we had Rich Diaz and Keith Dicker on the show. Great episode. Really like those guys. Rich and Keith have both been on before, but separately. And obviously they both co-host the Looney Hour with Steve Soretsky. I talked to Steve a bit on Twitter after that show, and I'm going to send him some opportunities, some times to come on in March. This week, Scott Wolf is coming to my house Wednesday. I think we're going to record at 11, so that'll be live. I took a day off work for that. Len, I'll be taking him for lunch at a local watering hole afterward on the company dime. And Friday night, I'm on Why Are We Bullish, which I forgot to mention last week. So I'll be doing that Friday night. And then I'm taking a break from interviews for, I don't know, a while, I guess. I don't know, a month.
See you in the fall.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I have nothing to add, Joey.
See you in the fall. Yeah, sure.
Took a while. I have nothing to add if you just want to dive right in.
No, I do want to dive in. Where do you want to start? Can we talk a bit about, like, I don't know if you have this in the notes. I know you sent me the stories this morning. I only half looked at them. I got to be honest. I was kind of busy today. But do you want to talk a bit about this, like this story about Milei and Argentina?
Yeah. Before we go there first, there's something I just want to add. Because these presidents they're shitcoining, right? And I'm not talking strictly about Trump. There's more than just Milei that has been shitcoining. Have you noticed this one, or have you seen this?
Like who? Portnoy?
No, it's a president of not a president of a company or CEO. Oh. We're talking president of a nation. This guy, I assume, was duly elected. His name is William Samoei Ruto. I hope I pronounced it right. He's the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Come on. This is the guy who asked Trump to buy his someone. Who did he ask? Somebody.
Sailor to buy the Kenya coin, which was soon to be released at the time, and on Valentine's Day, February 14th, it was released. Now I'm going to add this in the private chat, Joey. This is a link to X, If you could just pull that up and share the audio. This is the guy it's his pitch. I'm trying to sell this to the I want you to hear, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this fucking.
Is this AI?
This is straight from his fucking Twitter account. And after this, tell me, why would you want to buy it? Okay. Play that fucking clip, Joey.
Okay, I'm gonna play it.
Sound up and fucking enjoy.
Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Can I make it bigger?
Hello, everyone.
Oh, sure.
I am happy to launch Dollar Kenya. Hopefully, it will help my country. We think cryptocurrency is the future, and we truly support it. Hello, everyone.
That's it?
I am happy to launch.
That's it. It's going to help his country. How the fuck is this Kenya coin going to help his country?
He's going to sell it for USD. That's how.
So we've crossed the threshold here, Joey, right? We're looking at presidents now shilling crap for what they claim to help their country, right? Anyways, that's him. And that happened around the same time the Milei thing happened, right? This Javier Milei one, remember the afuera memes that came out? He says, this guy just going to cut this and improve that. And he talked about Bitcoin too, right? Somewhere along the lines, he talked about Bitcoin.
He talked about Bitcoin, but you and I, what did we say about that guy? What did we say about him?
Obviously, you got to take reservations here.
Gotta be aware, man. Be aware. He's not the first guy to make these promises, but he won't be the last either. Yeah.
So everybody that thought, he's going to do something with Bitcoin with his country, nothing's official yet. I mean, maybe there's something, but I've seen nothing of the sort. So clearly he's just doing things in the fiat world, in the fiat environment. And let's be honest, like everything is fiat over there in most of the world. So he hasn't really changed much with respect to that. But he came out with this, what was it called? Libra coin. And he was apparently giving support for this shitcoin, this Libra coin. And the market cap from this went as high as $2.5 billion. And in a matter of minutes, dropped to around $200 million. And a lot of people obviously lost quite a bit of money investing in this.
Yeah, is that a lot?
Well, in terms of the market cap, that's a ton.
It's a ton. Yeah.
Yeah. And for wondering what is this coin, obviously it's trash. Like there's no fundamentals behind it. And there was a website that was hastily created moments before it went live. So they decided, let's give it some legitimacy. Let's create a website. But the website wasn't done weeks or months in advance. It was done mere minutes in advance before the thing went live. Then Milei tweeted out that this was a private project aimed to boost Argentina's economy by funding small businesses. How? So this is it. We now have world leaders, we call them that, I guess, doing shitcoining. It's not just Milei, it's the guy also in Kenya as well. Like, this is what we're doing. Trump too, man. We can't even give him the past year. That Trump coin and all this shit. Like, we have these fucking grifters doing what? They're grifting. What the fuck else can I say about this shit? I mean, go right ahead.
What do you think the likelihood is that we've seen the last of a currently elected world leader try and turn on a shitcoin or shit token to quote unquote help his economy? By the way, that video you just sent me to show the Kenyan guy, you could take the text of that, like the transcript, and put it into a DM, and it would look like a scam DM. Help me buy this token. It's going to look like, same with the message he sent to Sailor, or the tweeted at Sailor. That was unbelievable. Like these guys are so detached from reality that they just think that it's normal for a world leader to tweet at a public company CEO about buying a shitcoin. So I think there's probably going to be more of this because it seems like there's no consequences. It's the Wild West right now, especially in the United States with Trump in there. So when people say, "Oh, well, this needs to be punished," I would just ask, by who? Who's going to levy that punishment? Anyone? No.
I believe on the White House,
not from. Yeah, go
on the domestic level. I think that Milei is going through some turmoil back home.
He's being sued. I understand as well. Yeah, after this, but I don't know. Like anytime Portnoy is pumping your stock or pumping your coin and telling everyone that it's a buy, that's a sign. Get out. And Portnoy lost, I think, about 4 million in like 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah, quite a bit.
With which coin? Was it the
Libra thing? Yeah.
Oh, he was an investor, quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, you know what you're getting with Portnoy, or you should, but I guess maybe you didn't. I don't know. It's like I don't have much to say about this except it's not going to be the last time. So strap in. You know, when people say that the bear market has started or that we've already hit the top, we're not even close. Stuff like this tells you that the bear market is not here yet. There's still an opportunity to rug people, make money, blah blah blah, all these things on the back end. And by the way, CoffeeZilla has an hour-long show out today or yesterday night. I watched like 15 minutes of it. And he's talking to developers who are basically admitting to financial crimes every 15 minutes in that interview. He admits to at least a handful of them. I would just say that you're in the Tyson zone, like I've said before. You know, to steal one from Bill Simmons. Anything is possible. You could say anything to me about any coin and any person running it, and my first instinct would be to believe you.
That's the world we live in right now. You could have the most outrageous story. Yeah, it could be totally fabricated, but there may be a hint of truth behind it, or it could be like legitimate. Like we just
look
don't
at Elon.
know.
Elon like popped out another kid with some like right-wing influencer or whatever, St. Clair, who's a bombshell. Good for him. But like my wife was telling me that was a story on some Instagram account 5 months ago, and she like discarded it as not true. And here we are now 5 months later. And like, yeah, it actually was true. So like, you have to take everything in where normally you would say, yeah, I just think this is probably fake. Now it's like the more insane, the more likely there's, like you said, a grain of truth to it, whether it's shit coins or babies out of wedlock, man. It's just like, no matter where you look, anything is possible. What a time to be alive. We're living in the sort of most interesting timeline of any human generation ever.
I think with respect to Bitcoin, everybody should look at what happened with Milei and also, to a degree, what happened with Donald Trump. They may talk about Bitcoin, they may cozy up to quote-unquote Bitcoiners, but when push comes to shove, it seems like they're in it for themselves. They're in it to increase their pocketbooks, like make it fatter and there's more in it. But with respect to Bitcoin, they just don't give a shit about it. They can understand it, but whatever it is, they're not Bitcoiners. So next time somebody comes out and says, yeah, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that,
probably not.
Just say fuck you. Just say, you know what, whatever. Right? Like we even had it here in Canada. We have somebody that's running to become prime minister in the next election. He hasn't said a peep about Bitcoin in 3 years and change.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, maybe not 3 years and change. 3 years and so like what the heck, right? Like people that just we have set the bar where if anybody talks about Bitcoin, just because you're a politician and you're likely to win and you talk about Bitcoin, that's not a reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
That's just, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
University of Austin, Joey, have you heard about this one?
I haven't, but I do want to talk about this, and I want to talk about some other quote unquote Bitcoin exposure stories. So we go ahead, give it to me.
Okay, I'll start with this, and then you could do the other Bitcoin exposure stories. You could tie it into what you want to talk about. Then, the University of Austin, they have a partnership now with Unchained, and they came together what is called the first long-term university endowment holding in Bitcoin. And what this means is they're going to put $5 million, and they're going to use that to buy and hold Bitcoin for a minimum of 5 years. 5 and 5. It makes me wonder, does 5 have any significance in all this with the university itself? I don't know. But either way, a 5-year hold is a good strategy, in my opinion, given if you look at the cycles of Bitcoin. And universities in total, United States, have billions of dollars that they're just sitting on. I did a Google search on this, and they said the search told me that in fiscal year 2024, the total endowment market of all universities in the United States is approaching $1 trillion. It's around $830 billion. And they say an average of $1.3 billion per university across every. That's a lot of money out there. And there's a lot of capital that's going to be at their disposal moving forward that they don't want to have their hard work of begging to go lost. So they may start looking at maybe buying some Bitcoin. The university is also going to try to educate folks about Bitcoin, and they're going to be holding events, debates, and guest lectures. And if they need somebody to talk about it, Joey, I guess you and I will be happy to fly to Austin and do so. I'm available. I'm sure you are as well.
Welcome Horns, man. Let's go. That's actually Texas Longhorns, but whatever. Maybe they won't mind.
You might have ruined our chances. Thanks a lot, Joey. So I'm not sure about the university if they're going to be converting cash to Bitcoin directly, or maybe something that's close to Bitcoin, or like an ETF. But either way, there's a donation button. I checked on their website, and you could actually donate in Bitcoin right now. And interesting enough, the donate address starts with the number 1. For people unaware, that's a legacy address. It uses way more overhead when you're trying to build a block. So I guess they're using this because it has more functionality, universal acceptance, but still they could use a better address in my opinion. Either way, as for the $5 million buy, like I mentioned, there's no evidence to show what you're going to do with it. If it's going to be straight spot Bitcoin or buy an ETF, I don't know. But either way, the guy that's managing this, from what I gather, its name is Anthony Rosario. I sent out a tweet. I'd love to get him on the show to talk about this at length. And yeah, I think this is very interesting. And it's a matter of time before more universities do this. Like I mentioned, it's almost $1 trillion they're sitting on in cash.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with it? I mean, not just cash. I mean, just in capital. So playing the markets, yeah. But a small portion towards Bitcoin, yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. So let me define some terms here, and then we'll talk about why this is important and maybe why it's a story or a theme, I should say, to pay attention to. When you think about what an endowment is, and you think about what a BlackRock or pick your sort of pick your long-term vehicle, sovereign wealth fund, family office, whatever. Everyone talks about this as institutional adoption, right? Institutions are adopting this as a treasury asset. They're adopting it as an investment vehicle. They're adopting it as a store of value. That's good. No problem there. But that's not really the distinction you should make. The distinction you should make is actually between slow money and fast money. Fast money is guys like you and me, or at our level, I should say, who are retail. They maybe buy the dips and sell the rips. It's, I would argue, cities like Vancouver, maybe even in Mayor Sim's case, that because that HODL strategy is only as good as your budget and your tax revenues. If your tax receipts go down, then you may find yourself in a forced selling position. Miners, I think, are fast money as well, because we talked about how they're forced sellers all the time. The HODL strategies don't produce the same outcome on the equity value side as they used to. So that's the fast money side, right? What we need in Bitcoin is the slow money side. The slow money side is the dynastic generational stuff, the generational thinking institutions and vehicles that become floor setters for the price. So endowments is a good example. No matter how bad things get at this university, they're never going to dip into their endowment. Like the endowment only grows. No matter how bad things get in sovereign wealth funds, the likelihood that you end up selling, one of your best performing assets after 5 years is fairly low. No matter how bad things could get at family offices, chances are that family office is building wealth for generations. This is why family offices exist, right? It's a tax vehicle more than anything. That's my opinion. So that slow money is what we need in Bitcoin. And we're actually seeing a lot more of it. I know that the YouTube clickbaiters, the low IQ tube clickbaiters are putting stuff up every day. Like this $20 billion giant, this $2 trillion giant is exposed, is this, is that. That's good for the retards. But for the thinking people, the people who watch and listen to this show and their friends and family, you have to think about this a different way. The exposure in slow money is already extremely prevalent. And you may not think about it this way all the time, but you should. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by this. When you think about states, for example, in the US, and we've talked about this over the last, few months, especially, talk about Bitcoin reserves. Like, this state is considering a Bitcoin reserve. And there's some Twitter accounts who do a good job tracking which states are thinking about this. States is states using this as treasury reserve asset. You have to think about what that means. Treasury reserve is one thing, but I wanted to just read you a list here of companies that, for example, hold MSTR. This is from Julian Farrer on Twitter. Okay. Arizona State Retirement, $15.4 million. California State Teachers Retirement, $82 million. California Public Employees Retirement, $76 million. Colorado Public Employees Retirement, $5 million. Florida Board of Administration Retirement System, $50 million. Municipal Retirement Fund in Illinois, State Employees Retirement System in Louisiana and Maryland. The Treasurer of the State of North Carolina at $20 million. And the list goes on and on and on. Slow money looking at Bitcoin. They're in MSTR already. The likelihood that they go to Bitcoin itself, I think, is pretty high. You can go further than this. I know you guys are talking about BlackRock in the chat. BlackRock, BlackRock, Cantor Fitzgerald, another great example. I got this from, a guy I want to get on the show at some point, Josh Ulshwitz, who sent this out, I think, a couple of days ago. The Cantor Fitzgerald wealth management firm, who, by the way, was the recipient of the now somewhat famous Trump Max presentation from Saylor in November or December. I watched that with my newborn back in the day. These guys are net long MicroStrategy, and so they are net long Bitcoin like almost nobody else. I'm talking millions of shares. Okay. And, these guys are also slow money. So yes, it's important that university endowments do this. And yes, it's important that we call this institutional adoption in a way. But what you really are looking at is the slow money versus fast money dynamic. And more slow money is coming into Bitcoin. That's the stuff that sets floors, right? Other money could set ceilings and narratives could set ceilings. But if you're in this for the long haul, it's the floors that you want to go up. And this is a good example of a floor raising move. I like it. And so I want you guys to think about that when you're thinking about this adoption thing. Is it likely that states start adopting Bitcoin? Yeah, it is, because they're already exposed to it quite a bit in a lot of cases. I'm sure that list isn't complete. Is it likely that states adopt and hold? Yeah, it is. That's slow money. And university endowments are no different. It's good stuff, man. I'm really happy to see that. And I think that everyone should be happy to see that.
Are you a little shocked, even a little bit, that it took to 2025 to hear this from the first university putting even a small portion of their endowment towards Bitcoin?
So I just want to note here that they're like, you have to think about, again, the slow money and what it means to be exposed. So Emory University, this is from Eric Balchunas, Emory University has 15.8 million worth of Bitcoin on their sheet already. That was,
okay.
Yeah, that was in October. I wrote something else down here too. Is there another one here that I missed? No, there's not.
Not the University of Singapore?
I don't know how many millions of Singapore dollars those guys have in Bitcoin. But so when you say it's the first university to have exposure, sure, to spot, yes, they're going to store it themselves. Yes. Great.
Wait, we're not sure it's spot. I just want to.
I would guess that it's going to be.
I hope so.
Because they don't know anything else, right? Most of the time, it's easy to note that you're doing it with the ETFs. And so what I was going to say is that Emory University has 15.8 million in Bitcoin ETFs, right? They bought that vehicle instead of spot. So they're not the first. And I would guess, Len, that like if you really just take it's only one step back from where we're talking now. If you take one step back, how many of these universities are buying the NASDAQ 100 every quarter, every year, rebalancing, blah, blah, blah? Well, MSTR is in there now. I think they start trading in the NASDAQ 100. If they haven't already, it's like in less than a month away. And, the exposure to us means a certain thing because we're maxis. We've been around, we get it. But exposure to these guys, they're where we were 7 years ago now.
There's a difference between going to the NASDAQ 100 and you're just getting exposure just because you're buying in maybe the Qs or something like that. It's like the same way, like I'll use an analogy to CPP. We're all buying in the CPP. And if the CPP does buy it through whatever mechanism by a little bit of MSTR, does that mean we are all Bitcoiners? No, this is just indirectly it's doing that. They're not actively going out and saying I'm buying but spot Bitcoin or lesser degree.
So the key word there is actively, right? You're not actively doing anything in the CPP. It's all passive. But when you're an endowment and you're actively buying the Qs, then it's a decision you're making. And if you're making that decision with MSTR in there, then you have to have some understanding that you have a little bit of exposure, vulnerability, or however you want to phrase it. And so I think that, I think you're going to see more of this. Am I surprised, to answer your earlier question? No, I think it's about right. Don't forget, for you and me, we were really running on this dream of Bitcoin is bigger than the law, bigger than governments, all this stuff. And I do think that was the case and remains the case, but a lot of people didn't think that. And so last year you had the last, inklings of the legislative cloud lifted. And now at the end of 24, so beginning of 24, you have the ETFs. The end of 24, you have Trump come in. And now the excuses are gone. Now when you have calls with your investors, you have calls with your university board, you have calls with the chairman of your family office, whatever, there is no, well, we're not sure about the future in terms of legal status.
No, if they're going out there and giving lectures about and
exactly, they're in.
Yeah, they're an active participant in it. The only thing we want to see is let's see them, show them like the students how to run nodes, show the people how to do sovereign, where you can do your own, broadcast your own. Like this is just a natural step. El Salvador has been showing this to students for, I don't want to say years, maybe years. I don't know. Either way, some time. So why can't an institution in the United States, like an educational institution like University of Austin,
they can. They
certainly can. The people going there are not stupid. They have a head on their shoulders. They didn't buy their way into university. At least I hope not.
Maybe.
So they have the capability to fucking do this shit. If I can figure this shit out, anybody can. So, well, it's a good segue to the next topic, unless you want to add anything else to this.
No. That's it. I just wanted to get that thing about slow money and fast money. I think that's important and people don't talk about it enough.
So kind of on the same keel here is that Canadian banks, a couple of them, have made some headlines. The Bank of Montreal and the National Bank of Canada, they each purchased shares in the company formerly known as MicroStrategy. And National Bank added $525 million worth, and the Bank of Montreal bought $790 million worth of shares. That's a good chunk of money. Mm-hmm. And the National Bank of Canada, they first purchased shares in MSTR. Last year, a small number, it was 18,000 shares. I don't know the dollar value, but it certainly wasn't as big as the dollar value they have now. But with respect to that, they've had some exposure to MSTR. And I don't think these banks are buying it because they like the suite of software services that MSTR offers. It's probably not. Mostly, maybe it is, but I could be wrong. They're trying to front run others. Buying this, it's just trying to give them more exposure to the price of Bitcoin and more Bitcoin exposure. And banks, they know which way the winds are blowing. And this is the one I'm shocked that it took so fucking long to really come out to figure this shit out. I mean, granted, they're more than neck deep in fiat, but fucking this thing is going to take the world by storm. And everybody could see this. University of Austin, Texas could see it. Even the National Bank of Canada and who's the other one? Fucking Bank of Montreal. They could see it. So bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah, this is so you're noting a recent buy, right? They've actually done
recently reported.
They've done it a few times now, right? There's stories as far back as November 2024.
Yes, for the National Bank.
Yeah, so it's not the first time. And so I see Boomer in the chat talking about technicals and momentum. Yeah, I think there's potential there, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, and you're kind of consolidating right underneath all-time highs as gold breaks out, as S&P breaks out, as rates continue to come down, blah, blah, blah. The cocktail's all there for you to have a nice time at the party. But, I'll go back to my earlier dichotomy. Is this fast money or is it slow money? I think probably it's fast money. And we'll see. It's hard to make the case if you're a bank to hold something past 100% gain. If Bitcoin gets to 200K in 5 years or whatever, is that a company that they're going to hold, or are they going to sell that off and move into, I hate to say it, but what they're going to move into, treasuries or something stupid like that, right?
They're going to be offering 6% at that time. That's going to be easy money.
Yeah, sure.
Them.
Exactly.
Easy money.
Yeah. Piece of cake. Right. But yeah, it's interesting, right? The banks, to your point, know which way the wind is blowing. I just don't think it's actually the monetary wind. It's more the lines and candles type of wind. So yeah, it's cool, but it's
not earth shattering. It's not
at all. Yeah. Which kind of sucks because it could have been, if it was accompanied with the right statement, like we like the MSTR treasury strategy or whatever, which by the way, they at least appreciate that there's a chance this thing goes up that's greater than it going down, because there's nothing here about their hedge, nothing here about buying options, nothing like that. So I'm not sure I don't think banks actually have to disclose options positions in this type of scenario. But that said, it's interesting that banks are looking at this stuff. They can't be the only banks. There's other banks doing it, I'm sure. Besides them.
And in Canada, it's a very small group of folks, right?
Yeah.
The big five,
National
right?
Bank's the sixth largest bank, I think. So it's not like super big. But
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of the show, SB, who has a terminal, as everyone knows. And we were just kind of chit-chatting a little while ago about the likelihood that when FASB comes into account and MSTR suddenly has enormous monthly gains, it's going to come onto a lot of screeners and people are going to have a hard time ignoring it. And so there's a chance that banks are just even thinking about that. Here's a company that's getting into the queues, now has FASB, now has, this preferred stock. The volatility is the quote unquote best or most active in the market. He's cozying up to Trump. Like there's any number of reasons they could buy. I just don't think that we have a new monetary revolution on our hands is on the list for the banks. Not yet.
If they do acknowledge that, then they acknowledge that they're going to be made extinct.
Yeah.
Because I can't see a bank operating in a world where Bitcoin is being used as a medium of exchange, the medium of exchange. Is what services can a bank really offer at that point?
They'll adopt. They could be part of a multi-sig solution. They could do any number of things.
How, like in terms of like
what do banks do? No, hang on a sec. What do banks do for you now? What do they do for you?
They create credit.
For you and me. What do they do for you and me? What is their primary function for you and me?
They loan money to us.
Exactly.
Let's create credit.
They hold capital and create credit. Hold capital is the important part of that, not the create credit part. Ostensibly, there is a case we made that holding capital is actually not that important, but for this conversation, we'll call it important. So why wouldn't they just hold Bitcoin for you, for grandma, for the city, for whoever, right? These guys will adapt to that end. Are the banks going to be like stalwart equity positions that the same way they, supposedly are now in Canada? Probably not, but I think they're going to have a function.
Let me interrupt, but on that topic, it's the fractional reserve that makes the banks really profitable. That they could take whatever they bring in and then lend it out, and it's no
reserve anymore. There is no reserve,
right? So it's a wonderful tool that you can't do that in a Bitcoin. Like, what if you give them the one Bitcoin, right? You have that one Bitcoin. What the fuck are they going to do with it? They're not going to lend it out. Right? They don't have the opportunity.
There's all sorts of stuff people will let banks do. Erroneously, I might add. Like my mother-in-law worked at a bank for a long time, smart woman, but she trusts. She's like, why don't you let a bank hold one of these like whatever wallets? I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
I'm never going to do that. Absolutely not.
The banks, like once you eliminate their ability to essentially print money by the creation of lending of money, shit like that, they're essentially useless. You can make like a pittance holding on to somebody's Bitcoin, their keys. I wouldn't recommend it, but say they do offer that, the ability for them to, you could store your Bitcoin with them and quote unquote trust them. But what sort of percentage are they going to get out of it? It's going to be minuscule. And in Canada, you could multiply that everyone times 40 million. That's how many people live here. Okay, that's fine. But still, it's not going to be to the same degree in terms of
that's what they're going to shrink. The businesses will shrink.
Yeah, sure. No doubt. Banks become obsolete in terms of what they're offering in levels. There may be some Bitcoin neobank, something like, I don't know, but it won't anywhere be close to what we have offered right now. It would just be some evolutionary development in the banks. And still, I wouldn't fucking use it. I'll still hold my own keys. Fuck, trust.
No, it's not for you. It's not for you and me, right? Like, I don't use a safety deposit box for anything. What the fuck? I'm not going to trust the bank. The bank, after what happened with the truckers, after what I see from like these guys are freezing Russian treasury assets. No one's gonna have a problem going into my safety deposit box.
Let's hear this. Who do you trust more to hold your Bitcoin? Yeah. Would it be a bank or would it be an exchange? And I could say this, if I have to rank it, if I really had to pick one, I'll go first. I'm probably gonna go. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Probably with the exchange.
Me too. Me too.
If I had to pick one, but like that's how fucking bad it is. Like we don't trust any of them.
No, I
the
know.
banks are worse than the exchange, and the exchanges are bad.
I told you about my experience at the bank on this show like a month ago. It's a system that hasn't updated because it hasn't needed to, and is going to find itself in a position where it's getting steamrolled, I think, relatively soon. And by the way, like it's not just Bitcoin that's steamrolling banks. It's other banks. It's like Tangerine, where there's, I don't think there's like ATMs maybe, but no physical location. It's stuff like Stripe and Venmo and PayPal and Apple Pay. Like Nobody gives a shit about any. Like, I don't go to the bank unless I absolutely have to. I don't go for any reason.
But
That's
still,
like,
they're
and
taking a
it's-
slice of the pie because they hand.
they're trying
right now
to,
they
for
do.
sure. What do they
Yeah.
charge? What do you get charged for your checking account every month? Do you know?
I could tell you offline. I don't want to say it.
I'll say what I get charged for mine. It's like
Yeah.
$45 every month for my checking account. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And
It's my checking account. Like, I'm not rich. It's a high volume account, but it's not rich. And people are like, talking about how banks are ripping everybody off. Like, yeah, $45 for some people is probably a lot, And
that's
so
almost $600 in a year. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of, yeah. That's the price of my car, threefold.
Yeah,
Like,
Mike pointing this out. I refuse to put $4,000 in my account. What kind of person keeps $4,000 in their account? Why would you ever keep $4,000 in your account for any reason?
A lot of Bitcoin.
You couldn't fucking pay me to keep. I won't tell you how much, but I'll tell you it's not 4,000. It's enough for my mortgage, my property tax, and my bills, and that's it. And not a penny more.
Trying not to keep a lot of Singapore dollars in there. Now we're talking about this trusting and stuff like that. I think it's a good segue for the next topic. I'm not sure if you followed this on X. There was this whole drama going on between the Prime Trust bankruptcy. I'm not sure if you saw this or caught a wind of this. Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, and I hope
because we've talked about it before and how, Swan went from Prime to Fortress and just couldn't get it right, and now these guys are still bickering. I think that was like a year and a half ago, right? Something like that.
I would say around a year ago, less than a year ago. Yeah. Either way, let me just set the table here for people that are unaware, because I did a search on Google, so they're my primary source of this type of information. They says Prime Trust, a crypto custodian, filed for bankruptcy in here it is, August 2023, after a shortfall of customer funds. The company's collapse was caused by a number of factors, including improper use of customer funds, and a crypto bear market, and investment in Terra Luna USD, which went tits up.
Yeah.
And Swan Bitcoin was using Prime Trust as its preferred custodian. They have since moved on, and they switched to Fortress and BitGo, and also Equity Trust. And so there's this bankruptcy hearing that's going on for Prime Trust, and through the hearing, it was thought that some of Swan's customer funds were tied up in the bankruptcy proceedings. But Corey Clipston came out and said, no, this is not the case. He says all the clients are their whole, and they with custody of Backed, BitGo, and Equity Trust. So all this is said, I just want to say that you don't want to leave your funds on any exchange. This is an example why. If you can't trust yourself, trust yourself. Just 12 or 24 words. Use multi-sig, put passphrase, do the number of different things to make it extra secure. But don't rely on somebody to hold on to your keys for you. And if you do, you could get robbed. And this is an example why. But in terms of the whole drama behind it, I think you might want to add some color to that.
I don't care to. No. Because but how many times are we going to talk about people, especially exchanges? Swan is an exchange. And by the way, you will recall that all this stuff started to happen around the same time that they fired a bunch of people, that they started up a quote unquote media empire. Corey Clipson the other day tweeting out a fucking graphic. Corey came on this show when this show was a lot smaller. I will always respect him for that. But tweeted out this graphic, a low IQ tube stat screen of how many views he got on all his videos, as though he's not just posting clickbait nonsense every fucking day and how good things are going at Swan. Meanwhile, the company basically dropped 80% of its employees, including some great people like Stefan Livera. Okay. Meanwhile, they couldn't get their customer funds secured. Meanwhile, you got Predator, who is in Corey's ass every time he tweets, talking about how he's fucking lying about something or obfuscating something. And this guy's tweeting about how good the YouTube numbers are. Retarded. No one gives a shit about the YouTube numbers. No one gives a shit if you're appealing to the dumbest people on the planet. What they care about is that you secure the funds. You didn't do that. What they care about is that you run a business that keeps people employed, good people in Bitcoin. You didn't do that. Instead, he was taking hype videos of himself, shooting 3-point shots at Pacific Bitcoin, and firing half his staff. Well, what a surprise, Len. Who could have seen this coming, right? And so here we are a year later or whatever it is. Same drama, same companies, same funds, same guy. And it's like predictable, to say the least.
Remember, they were so close to going public. Like it seemed like it was
They
imminent. and then
tried to, but like
all of a sudden,
I think Odell's rant on TFTC that one day, which I think was like off the cuff, like we're in Bitcoin, we're doing VC. Swan says they've given out $500 million. We don't know where a single dollar of that is. Not a single dollar. Never been cleared up, as far as I know. And unless I missed it, I doubt I missed it. Like I listen to TFTC often enough, and I'm on Twitter, like the rest of you guys, terminally online. I never saw it. So, fuck. I mean, what the fuck happened with that? That's seems to be another thing to be concerned about. I didn't even mention that in the short little rant that I did there. But yeah, interesting, right?
You hear about this Mubadala Investments?
Is this the
Abu Dhabi.
wealth fund, sovereign wealth fund? Yeah, I did hear about this. Yeah.
So
I have it written down in my book here.
Pull up that book because we'll be talking about right
I got
now.
the book. 436 million in Bitcoin ETFs in quarter 1, right? Have that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. They
Interesting.
bought the BlackRock iShares.
Slow
ETF.
money, sovereign wealth fund, slow money.
And
that's good. That's good shit.
I don't understand like why they chose this mechanism versus holding their own keys. I mean, Abu Dhabi. I know it's
We got to get that. We don't use the soundboard feature on this thing, but we should just get one of you saying, I don't know why they used the ETFs instead of holding their own keys, and you can just get some water or something instead, because it'd be easier for you that way. I think.
Continually say that. The reality is like, fuck, don't have somebody else hang on to your wealth. Why you have the ability to hang on to it yourself? Why give somebody else the keys?
Yeah. It truly is. It truly is a sovereign wealth fund. If you don't hold your own keys, someone else is holding them.
Well done, Joey. Well
Wait
done.
a minute. Foreign wealth fund. Foreign wealth fund.
The only thing that would truly put a bow on this fucking story is if the Mubadala Investments released their own fucking meme coin. That would be just the cherry on the top of this story, and I would love it.
We got it. Yeah, they'll release it as an ETF.
Meme ETF. Anyways,
God, that's
you
good.
see GameStop is considering buying some Bitcoin.
This guy, Liam Cohen or whatever his name is, like
the
unreal.
guy from Chewy.
That's the guy. Yeah, he did do Chewy, right? But he also did. He's also the GameStop CEO or whatever president. I don't know what he is, but that was another banger day in low IQ tube headline history. This GameStop finally does Bitcoin. Look, I don't have a problem with companies doing Bitcoin treasury strategy. Obviously, I mean, like we like that kind of stuff. But why is this guy in the news still? Why? This guy is only famous because Keith Gill, deep fucking value, Roaring Kitty, who decided one day to make a YouTube channel and wear a headband, had $100 million worth of like longs on this stock or something like that. That's what we care about. And this guy's still in the news after that. Roaring Kitty's the best thing that ever happened to that guy. And this is just another attempt to lasso in another community, right? To pump his stock. But I don't think the Bitcoiners will buy it.
I think that just the fact that they're doing this, I think it's funny.
Hold on. I got to say something here. Mike in the chat. Do not send a super chat here. I will not read your super chat if you send it. If you want to boost, do it in Fountain. And you can ask how in the Discord. I'll show you. Super chats here fucking suck. Google takes like 60% of the money and we never get a dime anyways.
You know what? The same conversation I'm having in Discord. The exact same conversation.
Just don't do it. Don't give these people your money. Give a boost. 1,000 sats is like what? $1? Like, don't give these guys $5 and like we'll read the shit that you write in the boost anyway. Just do it for $1 instead of $5. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no. In fact, I'm gonna turn off the super chat.
Shut it off.
Yeah,
we gotta turn the faucet off for these guys. Big chat can't be winning against us.
Fuck that. I'm gonna do that right. Why is it still
unreal?
So to go back to GameStop.
That's what happened to the Delta flight, by the way. The guy was reading his super chats and fucking flipped the plane.
These planes fly themselves now. What's going on?
Oh, I love it.
I don't know. For people who aren't aware, in Toronto, our busy airport over here, a Delta airplane, I don't want to say crash landed. I mean,
I don't know. It's what happened. The video, I haven't seen a good video yet. There's one video of like the smoke, but it's pretty nuts. The fuselage is upside down, no wings on the runway. So that means it must have spun twice, right? Like, where are those wings on the fuselage? Like, where are the I don't know.
I don't know. And still, I'm trying to figure out exactly how it happened. Either way, like, what a fucking disaster. But Proton Wallet, I guess we could just wrap it up with this last story here. Very simple, very quick. They exited the early access stage, and it's now available for all Android, iOS, and web users, and they could get access to this web wallet.
Yeah.
And this is a self-custodian wallet. It provides you with the 12 keys, which you could get access to.
I like this. Are you a Proton Mail guy?
I do have Proton Mail, multiple, in fact, absolutely. And I'll go as far as to say I even use the VPN, but I use it just for my TV because I just put it on my Fire Stick and load it up, and I'm able to get the US stuff. And
that's pretty cool.
It's because it's free. I'm able to do that. The one thing I wish it had, you could go to a whole bunch of different countries, and some of them, like most of them, you have to pay for, which sucks because the Italian one, I can't get access to it. So like a lot of the Italian shows, I can't fucking see. But either way, Proton Wallet, it's now available for anybody who wants it. There's one additional feature to this. People may like this. I'm not sure if it's all that great because there's an email feature which allows users to send and receive Bitcoin using only their email addresses. It kind of sounds like you're doxing yourself in a way by providing it.
Why is it any different than the Lightning address thing? Maybe it's the same. Is it Lightning or on chain? Because on chain would be difficult. Yeah, on chain would be difficult. So I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, this is on chain because you're providing your 12 words. Either way, for people who aren't aware what the hell Proton is, it's a quote unquote private email service and VPN service. I think a few other things as well. I think they provide like a drive or cloud storage and stuff.
Yeah, they're man, Proton Mail is good. They're really good. And Ben Perrin, BTC Sessions, has a video on the wall already. I haven't watched it. I actually meant to put it on today when I was riding my elliptical, but not my elliptical, sorry, my stationary bike. But I do want to try it because I'm always down for a good wallet that I can use on my phone, right? Blue Wallet's pretty good. Green Wallet's pretty good. This one sounds like it might be good too. Proton's super privacy focused. You can say what you want about them. Nothing is 100% safe, obviously, but I think if you're going to put your, quote unquote trust in somebody, these guys are about as good as you're going to find. So if you're going to do something on your phone, hot wallet type, then this is the thing. One of the things you could look at.
And I guess that's it, Joey, for the Bitcoin related story.
Nice. Okay, let's go over to the notables. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, whatever, watching live, hang in. We're not going anywhere. If you're anywhere else, wait till tomorrow for the back half of the audio feed. Until then, take care of yourself.
And don't be a cock.